Not quite an eclipse, yet occurring in the sign of the North Node, the new moon in Pisces on Thursday, February 27th carries karmic themes and urges us to connect with our feelings and listen to our intuition as we start new soulful projects. Let's take a closer look and break it down for all 12 signs. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer specializing in natal, relationship, and predictive readings. If you enjoy my work, please show your support by leaving a like, a comment, subscribing, and pressing the notification bell. Watch more of my videos. That's how YouTube knows to send more audience my way, helps my channel grow. Additionally, if you want to say thank you, you can also buy me a tea, a coffee, any token of appreciation I am very grateful for. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Thank you for being here. Before we dive in, if you're looking to work with me, you have questions about your natal chart, you have a wedding coming up that you need to help choosing a date for, you need help choosing a date for, if you want to know what the year ahead has in store for you, your birthday is this month, book a reading on my website, anastasiadoesastrology.com. Natal chart readings are more general. They break down your karmic purpose, karmic potential. Year ahead or solar return readings are great to be done at the start of the year, solar return right around your birthday. Relationship consultation, great time for that. Until the end of the month, I'm actually offering a special discount on the relationship readings with the code LOVE lowercase 20. It gives you $20 off the in-person love reading, all one word, love 20. And yeah, you can save on a relationship consultation, or you can save $40 by getting a recorded relationship reading in the shop. So you have to go to Candle Shop or Print Shop on my website. All of that is at anastasiadoesastrology.com. Find it there. Additionally, on my website, you can find a variety of products I create. I work with astrology in a constructive, organized way, like a true Virgo I am. I'd like to highlight my 2025 astrology planner. This is the second planner I created. There was a 2024, now it's a 2025. It has 223 pages filled with basic information about astrology, as well as descriptions of the month, lunation breakdowns, spaces to set your intentions, spaces to write your to-do list, lunar phases, lunar signs, so much useful information to make your life more aligned with the universe. You can still pick it up on my website or at the link in the description. And I would also highly recommend getting my Jupiter in Taurus candle. The new moon in Pisces is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter has been in the sign of its detriment in Gemini since late May 2024. Jupiter in Gemini struggles sometimes with optimism because it sees so many possibilities. It tends to focus on the facts. It tends to be a little bit scattered instead of more focused. This is Jupiter co-present with Venus in Taurus, very focused on creating stability, abundance, success. It's very materially driven, so if you're looking for more financial stability in your life, this could be a great choice. And anytime you're looking for support of authorities or help with your projects, this could be a great choice. Especially recommend this if you were born with Jupiter in Gemini or Jupiter in Virgo, signs of detriment, or Jupiter in Capricorn, which is the sign of its fall. Jupiter in the 6th, 8th, or 12th houses, conjunct square opposite Saturn. This is my choice for anyone. Or, yeah, it could be great for every single person, but if you have those placements, even more so. So let's talk about the new moon in Pisces. This one happens on Thursday, February 27th at 7:44 p.m. Eastern Time. So adjust it for your time zone. If you're in Europe, it's going to be already February 28th for you. And it occurs at 9 degrees 40 minutes of Pisces, which means if you have planets between 6 and 12 degrees mutable signs, which are Pisces and Virgo, Sagittarius and Gemini, you have more to look forward to. This new moon will likely inspire new beginnings, not only in the house that it happens in, but also connected to the planets that it's aspecting. If it's Venus, it could be romantic. If it's Mars, it could be business, action, physical body related. If it's Mercury, it could be about your intellect, maybe some kind of communication related. And then you might also want to look at the houses that planet rules. For example, once again, if you have Venus at 11 degrees Pisces and the new moon happens right next to it and you're a Taurus rising, Venus also rules your 6th house of work, health, and service, and your 1st house of body and identity. So it's not just new moon happening in the house of friendships for you, which is Pisces for you, but it might also be like utilizing friendships to showcase your new idea to start a professional project, something like that. So the new moon in Pisces, right? Pisces is a very soulful, very dreamy, very idealistic sign. It's the sign that we actually need in our life in order to be able to get out of the restrictions of the mundane and to be able to envision and see the future and go into the direction of something that's more imaginative and creative, right? So the new moon in Pisces, which is the sun and moon coming together, making a kiss, creating a baby, making a baby like type of thing, right? New moons are always connected to planting seeds in the dark, moist soil. So they're very much connected to which dreams are worth pursuing. Where is your imagination calling you? Where are your feelings calling you? Pisces seeks transcendence, it seeks unity, it seeks to follow dreams that maybe help the world somehow. Like, if you think of Piscean artists like Kurt Cobain, for example, or anyone else, right? There's a lot of Pisces out there, but nobody comes to mind right now. But there is often that kind of ability to tap into the feelings of the collective and connect with other people. And so making art that serves the world, that heals the world, is very Piscean. You may feel a little bit tired, you may feel a little bit sleepy as well. And simultaneously, your dreams might be carrying messages, your thoughts, your daydreams might be giving you the right direction and pointing you towards that. And it's interesting, right? Sometimes people can feel very negative towards a certain sign, like Pisces gets, this sort of escapist tendencies, and like every sign has issues for sure. And every sign has the shadow and the light manifestation. But we all have Pisces somewhere in our chart, right? Like if you say that Pisces is the sign that is like evasive escapist, look where Pisces is in your chart. You have it somewhere. You are very Piscean in one or another portion of your life, as well as being very creative and imaginative and dreamy. So this is not an eclipse, like I said, because it is quite far from the North Node at 27 degrees 24 minutes Pisces at the time. And like I said, the new moon happens at 9 degrees 40 minutes. But it still has the karmic energy. We did have a lunar eclipse in Pisces in mid-September 2024, September 17th, I believe. So look back at September last year and think of what was coming to an end in your life, what was closing, what was becoming redundant, and kind of where were you maybe realizing new dreams that were important to you, or where were you realizing that you have qualities that you need to release? Because this new moon takes that energy and takes it one step further in terms of committing to new things and following new dreams and actually venturing into new territories. The ruler is Jupiter in Gemini, so it is Jupiter in its detriment. It is Jupiter that has that tendency to follow too many leads at the same time, have too many exciting ideas, and not only it rules the new moon, but it also squares the new moon. So the ruler squares the new moon, and we have a bit of a tension between the unity, the singularity, and the multitude of possibilities. That's why, once again, I would really recommend my Jupiter in Taurus candle, because it's a healthier Jupiter. We're going to have a very strong Jupiter in June, but we still have a few months to go until then. So you can find that on my website. But there is, there's a little bit of tension between, like I said, unity versus separation, truth versus facts, compassion versus rational mind, unity versus multitude of possibilities. So you may need to narrow your focus down a little bit. You may need to compromise. You may be facing opportunities that are requiring you to compromise or requiring you to read the fine print. So be careful, right? I do also quite like that there is a trine to Mars in Cancer, which has just recently, 4 days prior, stationed direct. So there might also be a sense that we're taking what we've learned during Mars retrograde, which started on December 6th and ran until February 23rd. And because Mars was in Cancer, it's another water sign. It's another feeling, deep, emotional, intuitive sign. And while Mars was retrograde, you may have felt a bit stuck and uncertain and unclear, low on energy, unsure what's worth your courage, where should you direct that warrior spirit. And so now that Mars is direct and the new moon, it is squaring Jupiter. So like I said, there are some compromises, some sort of facts and maybe erratic, disruptive energy sort of overwhelmed that you need to address first. But there is also the courage connected to Mars in Cancer, and very much an urgency when it comes to following your dreams and your interests and following your heart on many levels. So making your dreams come true is the energy of this new moon. I see it as that. So let's take a look at the 12 zodiac signs and talk about what this might mean for you. And let's start with Pisces rising, because it's a new moon in Pisces. So if you are a Pisces rising, there's a new moon in your first house and a square to Jupiter in the fourth, trining Mars in the fifth. So the new moon in the first house reflects back on September 2024, specifically September 17th, but you can give it 2 weeks on each side. What was happening in your life? If you have been realizing something, if you have been getting closer to your health or taking care of your health, getting closer to your goals and insights, the new moon right now on February 27th is a continuation of that. And it's very embodied on many levels. It's very much about you and your health and your wellness and your well-being. There's a square to Jupiter in the fourth, so somehow maybe there is a bit of tension between what you're trying to accomplish when it comes to starting a family, when it comes to being a parent, when it comes to even like working with family or working in real estate. There might be some contradictory energy, right? Like family, home, real estate, all of that is a goal for you, but maybe it creates friction between you being able to take care of yourself. And so the new moon is all about, remember that you need to put the mask on yourself first before helping a child, right? So the new moon in the first house could be about tending to your health, seeing the doctor, talking to a therapist. It could be about committing to the goals that you have, especially with a trine to Mars in the fifth house. Maybe connecting with your playfulness, your creativity. And if it is, the trine to Mars in the fifth house could also be connected to parenthood. If it is parenthood, right, and sort of family, if it is what you seek, then once again, with the new moon in the first house is the question of like, what do you need to fix? What do you need to reinvent? How do you need to take care of yourself before you get those goals? So look within, look in the mirror, ask yourself what you need to change about your style, your presentation, even your brand or your health in order to be a better parent, a better business owner, and first of all, like just better you, because this new moon is all about you. It's like, you can keep looking at other people and worrying about other people, but the first person, the most important person for you is you, yourself. For more guidance to work with me, book a reading at Anastasia.astrology.com. I'd be happy to look at your chart, talk about your year coming up or your relationship. For the lovely Aries rising, there's a new moon in the 12th house, squaring Jupiter in the third, trining Mars in the fourth. And I feel like there is a strong need for you guys to go within and to get away and rest and maybe like even focus on your spirituality. So the new moon in the 12th, take a look back at the lunar eclipse in your 12th house in mid-September 2024. Has it highlighted your mental health? Did it bring your awareness to a need to release something, to shed a skin or two, to maybe clear space for new beginnings, for new sort of passion projects. Because the new moon here is another indicator of you need to heal, so you need to release, you need to tend to the more invisible part of yourself, the more subconscious part of yourself. And you need to connect with your soul's desires. And they might be very different from what people expect of you. The new moon in the 12th might be your desire to move to London and to become a Reiki healer, or to go to India to study yoga, or to become a nurse, or to start doing work from home. Like there's, these eclipses that we're going to be having in Pisces and Virgo for the next couple of years, they're all about you stepping away from the grind and you going towards like more spiritual, more soulful, more healthy even version of you. The square to Jupiter in the 3rd house suggests a certain level of noise, a certain level of busyness that maybe you're using to get away from your inner self. You're like, oh, I'm so busy. I have all these things to do. I don't have time to take care of my mental health. But the trine to Mars in the 4th feels like you really should take care of yourself, and you really should address any spiritual battles so that you find more peace and more comfort and security, not just within, but also within your home and with people you consider family. I'd love to know if you remember what the eclipse in Pisces in September brought, if you have any insights on what you think the next couple of years will be like for you. You can also reflect back on 2006 and 2007, which is the last time we had North Node in Pisces, to see how the period right now is similar to that period. For more guidance, check out anastasiadoesastrology.com. I'd love to look at your natal chart, talk about your relationship, or discuss your year coming up. All of that is there, as well as pick up my Jupiter in Taurus candle. It falls in your 2nd house of money, so it could be very abundant and financially rewarding. For the lovely Taurus rising, there's a new moon in your 11th house and a square to Jupiter in the 2nd, trining Mars in the 3rd. If I had to sum it up, it's an invitation to follow your dreams and to be conservative with finances, maybe take your time planning, and the dreams potentially direct you towards writing, starting a business, blogging, content creating. Right, now let's break it all down. So we are in the eclipse cycle of Pisces and Virgo. It is reminiscent. It is reminding us of 2006, 2007, which is the last time North Node was in Pisces. So if you were an adult around that time, reflect back to see how is life repeating itself? What is sort of happening that is similar? And while you're reflecting, I'm going to try to fix my curl that went haywire. Okay, this is fine. So reminiscent of that period, and this is also a continuation of the eclipse cycle that got started in mid-September 2024 with the lunar eclipse in Pisces. So this is not an eclipse because it's too far from the North Node, but it's a new moon in the sign of the eclipse energy, right? So it has that kind of strong, potent, powerful spirit to it. So new moon in the 11th house. Look back at September, what was happening there. Let me know in the comments below. But maybe in September you've been realizing or like sort of looking at your friendships. Maybe you've been completing projects. Maybe you've been reminiscing or thinking about your dreams and your goals, kind of looking back. So the new moon in the 11th offers you opportunities to start new friendships, maybe take existing relationships to the next level. It is also very soulful and very spiritual in terms of soul searching. It could be a powerful opportunity to connect with what you truly desire, right? Envision new life for yourself that maybe involves new people, that maybe involves building a community, creating a following. The square to Jupiter in the 2nd does create an element of like tension between what you want and maybe what other people want. There might be some financial considerations. There may be a sense that in order to make your dream come true, you have to spend a bit much. And so try to stay balanced, right? Don't overdo it. There's also a trine to Mars in the 3rd, which feels like, as I mentioned before, you know, dreams that encourage you to start a business, that encourage you to speak, write, publish, create, and express your vision, that encourage you to go off and start a business. That once again, like some kind of work that serves the collective, that serves the community. And if you reflect back on 06, 07, and even September 2024, there might be Easter eggs in order to help you make sense of everything. And please share what realizations you're having. For more guidance, check out anastasiadoesastrology.com. Book a reading with me. You can do a natal chart, relationship, predictive reading, and also I can help you figure out the best place in the world for you to live or the best date for your important event. For the lovely Gemini rising, there's a new moon in the 10th house and a square to Jupiter in the 1st, trining Mars in the 2nd. So this new moon is part of the eclipse cycle. It's not an eclipse, but it is part of the eclipse cycle because it occurs in the sign of the North Node. We had a full moon lunar eclipse in September in your 10th house, and there might be something changing in your professional life, something closing so that the new beginning can be born. And so around the time of the new moon, this is your opportunity for a new beginning. I would also recommend you look back at 2006, 2007, and if you were of an adult age at the time, think back on what kind of new beginnings were starting for you professionally, how kind of your dreams were shaping up to be. So the new moon here is an invitation to connect with your spiritual self, to follow your dreams, to even envision new dreams, right? It can represent that you're working on starting a business, that you're working on making a movie, starting a book, writing a book, right? There is very much an invitation to follow your dreams and to believe in yourself and believe that you can make things happen. The square to Jupiter in the 1st creates a little bit of there's a little bit of friction. Jupiter is a positive planet, so I wouldn't worry about it too much, but there is a little bit of maybe timing issues or some kind of compromises that you need to make. Jupiter in the 1st really urges you to go off on your own and start a new chapter and maybe be a teacher. And there might also be a little bit of tension in being pulled in too many directions. So this new moon will encourage you to kind of compromise and take it a little bit slow and watch out for overexerting yourself, overextending yourself. So I would encourage you to connect with what truly matters to you and go with that. And the trine to Mars that has just recently stationed direct in your 2nd house can also suggest that the direction you're taking is perhaps towards building financial stability or towards believing in yourself, towards connecting with your true values and making professional leaps that not just create financial stability, but also helps you feel more secure and more happy. I'd love to know what you are thinking about this. And if you're looking for more guidance, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. Pick up my Jupiter in Taurus candle. It's beautiful and it smells like banana nut bread. For the lovely Cancer rising, we have a new moon in your 9th house and a square to Jupiter in the 12th, trining Mars in the 1st. So something is being born in your house of education, publishing, travel, writing, philosophy, spirituality. Maybe it comes from a realization that you've had recently. Maybe it comes from an opportunity to be more in charge. Maybe you've had to deal with some obstacles while Mars was retrograde in the 1st house, and you've realized how strong and powerful you are and how much you can actually handle. But the new moon in the 9th house is a perspective shift. It's an opportunity to expand your life, to open yourself up physically, geographically. You're going to new places, right? Maybe you're getting ready to move. Educationally, maybe you're getting ready to go to school. Maybe you're getting ready to share your voice in the world with the world by starting a podcast or starting a blog or starting to volunteer at a local church. Like, let's say you've been through things with Mars retrograde, right? From December 6th until February 23rd. Maybe you've dealt with, like, your daughter maybe struggled with something and you've been there to help her out. And now you realize that you want to start a podcast where you're talking about, like, life of a teenager, and you do a podcast with your daughter, or you feel driven to maybe go to church and help young girls in church, right? So there might be quite exciting opportunities to share your beliefs and to maybe even connect with something that's more spiritual, more soulful, and something that, like, takes you outside of your comfort zone but feels exciting because you're following your dreams. It is a repeat of the cycle from 2006-2007 when we've had North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo. So think back on what was your life like back then if you were an adult. And we've also had a lunar eclipse in Pisces on September 17th. You can say 2 weeks before, 2 weeks after, in 2024. So it could have also been part of this story with something, old beliefs disappearing, old projects coming to an end, you thinking about moving. So how are you working on that? Please share down below. For more guidance, visit Anastasia Does Astrology. I'm clapping. Visit Anastasia Does Astrology and book your natal chart reading for a more general overview, relationship reading for a romantic compatibility. I can also do a child-parent relationship reading or boss and employee relationship reading. You can also book a solar return reading, perfect, right around your birthday or a year ahead reading. All of that is at anastasiadoesastrology.com. For the lovely Leo rising, there's a new moon in your 8th house and a square to Jupiter in the 11th, trining Mars in the 12th. So for you, this is all about trust. And this is all about sorry, never mind. But it is about trust. It is about other people's finances. It is about relating and leaning on others or helping others, right? We are in the eclipse cycle that is similar to 2006-2007. So look back at that period and think of how has your sense of, like, my things versus our things, my money versus our money, having finances versus taking debts, how has that changed back then? Take a look back at September 2024 to see if there were any changes around partners' money, debts, loans, finances, because this is a new moon. It's not an eclipse, but it comes right after an eclipse in Pisces that happened in September. This feels like you are welcoming new beginnings in relationships. And these new beginnings are related to trust, they're related to healing, they're related to money. So this could indicate starting a joint bank account, this can indicate starting a business partnership with someone, getting married, getting engaged, healing. This is a very healing new moon, especially with that trine to Mars in the 12th house. It's very subdued and hidden and spiritual and not necessarily as in your face as maybe some other new moons can be. It's a bit more quiet, I think, but it can bring more trust and better relationships for sure. It can also encourage you to either release toxic relationships and toxic agreements or welcome new relationships. Those two are not, they don't exclude one another, right? But there might be an opportunity to, like, start a new partnership, to get a loan with your partner, maybe get a mortgage with your partner, or something that throws you a little bit off balance, because with Virgo in the 2nd house, you're used to being very organized financially, very sort of analytical, but here the invitation is, like, to trust a little bit more and to go in the direction of the unknown. I'd love to hear how this resonates. For more guidance, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com and book your year ahead natal chart relationship reading. I can also help you pick a date for your wedding and help you figure out where you should move in the world. If you are the beautiful Virgo rising, there's a new moon in your 7th house and a square to Jupiter in the 10th, trining Mars in the 11th. And there is a sense of new beginnings in your relationships and partnerships that maybe is somehow, maybe you have a little bit, maybe you're a little bit doubtful about it because of that square to Jupiter in the 10th. Maybe it feels a little bit overwhelming, like you're moving in with your partner or you're starting a business relationship while not completely done with your existing job. And so you're feeling a little bit unsure of like, how is this going to work really? There are powerful opportunities for meeting somebody new if you're single around the time of this new moon. Maybe you're meeting them at work. Maybe that's why there's that square to Jupiter in the 10th. You meet someone at work and it's exciting, but you worry about how it might affect you. And of course, the new moon will encourage you to take a risk, right? It will encourage you to trust. But do make sure that you're not doing anything that you will later regret potentially. New business partnership, new professional partnership that maybe feels like it's a bit too much on your plate. Try to be balanced. Committing to a relationship, moving in together, getting engaged, getting married, buying a home together, starting to try for a child. Any powerful, important developments in relationships may be represented by this new moon. It does trine Mars in the 11th. So Mars has been retrograde from December 6th until February 23rd, raising a lot of important questions around mental health and spirituality and healing, as well as your friendships and networks and your dreams. And so this new moon somehow has a positive effect on your dreams. So if you're starting a business partnership or you're starting a writing partnership, right, this could be quite empowering for your desire to be a writer. So there is a bit of a sense of overwhelm for sure, and a bit of like uncertainty and need to compromise. But it also feels like after being confused for a while, you now have more clarity and you have a 2020 vision helping you kind of go in that direction that makes you feel more kind of aligned with your purpose, let's say. For more guidance, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com and book a reading. I do natal relationship predictive readings. I can help you pick a date for your wedding and help you figure out where in the world you should move to. For the lovely Libra rising, there is a new moon in your 6th house and a square to Jupiter in the 9th, trining Mars in the 10th. So this is all about new beginnings at work. New beginnings that require blood, sweat, and tears, that require commitment, that require elbow grease, but you do not feel afraid, right? The trine to Mars in the 10th house. Mars has been retrograde since December, moving through your 11th house of dreams and networks and social media and through your house of career, creating a lot of questions around like, what am I supposed to do next? What is my future? Who are my allies? And with the new moon in the 6th, you are getting ready to figure it out. You're getting ready to put in the work. So this could be a new job. This could be a new project, right? I wonder if this is maybe you going back to school to study nutrition, or you becoming a full-time yoga teacher, right? Who knows? Or you adding maybe like a yoga channel. This is me. This is my thing, but it's not always about me, right? But I'm a Libra rising, and I am considering like I have some yoga videos in my back pocket, a couple of them, and I'm like, I've just been asking a lot of questions, not quite knowing what to do with them, right? So there is a sense of something new is brewing, and it very much is likely to include health and healing and helping other people, and maybe exercise, diet, nutrition. It could be about you, right? It could be you're just working on your well-being. But with the trine to Mars in the 10th, it either benefits your career just simply by the fact that you're having more energy, or it benefits your career because you're bringing it into your career, right? Maybe you actually work in fitness already, or you work as a lawyer for a cosmetics organization or something. And so the new moon can bring new opportunities there. It can also encourage you to relax a little bit. The square to Jupiter in the 9th might suggest that you may be also dealing with some education, travel, legal matters that feel a bit overwhelming, or what you're doing is a bit contradictory to the way you envision things. or there's some compromises that you need to make. So make sure that you're not overextending yourself. Do look back at, first of all, 2006, 2007, when we were in the same eclipse cycle, because even though this new moon is not an eclipse, it's in the eclipse sign, and we're going to have an eclipse here in September, and we've had an eclipse here in September 2024. So reflect back at what was happening in your professional, personal life in 06, 07, and also think back on September 17th, 2024. Was there a sense of chapters closing, health transforming, new interests emerging? Perhaps that was your clue on what this new moon might be bringing. For more guidance, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com. Book your year ahead natal chart reading, relationship consultation. Solar return is best done around your birthday. I can also help you pick a date for your big event, or help you figure out your relocation chart to tell you where you should move to. If you are the beautiful Scorpio rising, there's a new moon in your 5th house and a square to Jupiter in the 8th, trining Mars in the 9th. So the new moon in the 5th house is an invitation for you to connect with your joyful, playful, creative, childlike energy. It could be about following new dreams and connecting with new interests. 5th house is a very, very personal and subjective house. It could be the house in which you become a hiking teacher, a yoga instructor, or it could be a house where you choose to stay at home and spend time with your kids. It's the house of sort of being truly yourself, right? So the new moon in the 5th house is that invitation to be truly, truly yourself and connect with your romantic desires, your creative desires, your desire to be a parent, your desire to raise your child the way you want them to be. There is a square to Jupiter in the 8th, so you might be a bit kind of concerned about finances. There might be certain debts, there might be certain loans, a mortgage, or some type of like financial engagement that is not quite allowing you to be who you want to be. There might be also a bit of a tension, disagreement between what you're trying to accomplish and what your partner is expecting of you. There might also be a tendency to overspend with Jupiter in the 8th house. It's sort of overspend, or you find out that your tax bill is really high, like some kind of financial engagement that makes things feel less free than you would like them to be. I do like that the new moon trines Mars in the 9th. So for a while, Mars has been retrograde between your 10th house of career and your 9th house of education, travel, writing, publishing. So it might suggest that now you finally have clarity and you know what you want, and your desires might involve studying or teaching. They might involve traveling or moving to a different location. They might involve religion, philosophy, spirituality, writing. So I would urge you with this new moon to kind of trust your gut and to work towards reaching your dreams, and maybe take it slow, because there might be some expenses that you wouldn't feel quite excited about. Take a look back at what was happening in your life in 2006, 2007. This is the last time we had eclipses in Pisces and Virgo, and even though this is not an eclipse, it is happening in the sign of the North Node, so it carries that eclipse potent energy. And if you remember, 2006, 2007, that could be useful. And think back on September 2024 when we had the lunar eclipse in your 5th house. Something may have been closing, a chapter may have been ending in your life, so that a new beginning might be born, right? For some of you, it might literally be about like you were pregnant and now you're a parent and now you're embracing a new lifestyle and trying to find ways to maybe work from home or write for a living or do things that are kind of like fun, or things that involve being with your partner full-time, your child full-time, something like that. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and if you're looking for more guidance, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. If you are a Sagittarius rising, there's a new moon in your 4th house of home, family, and living situation. It squares Jupiter in the 7th house of partnerships and trines Mars in the 8th house of shared finances, debts, loans, partners, money. So we are in the eclipse cycle of North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo. It is similar to 2006, 2007, when we had the same pair of eclipses and nodes. And look back, think back on what was happening in your home and family life in 2006, 2007. The new moon here is a sign of new beginnings. So there might be a chance to move. Maybe you're moving to a different country. Maybe you're moving back home. Maybe you're moving closer to your family to be able to help them. Maybe you're making improvements to the home. You've always dreamt about having a pool and you're finally doing it. You're being like, this is my vision. I want to have a pool in my house. Or you've always had an idea of having a library, like in Beauty and the Beast, and you're installing a bunch of shelves to begin your library, right? It doesn't need to be through the roof, but maybe you're working on creating more coziness and more comfort in your home. The square to Jupiter in the 7th is interesting because there is that partner energy here, and Jupiter is your chart ruler, and Jupiter rules this new moon as well. And so it's in the 7th, and the goal is, like, you're very relationship minded right now. So the new moon in the 4th might also be making changes to the home or making changes to the family dynamic to accommodate new beginnings in the relationship, right? And because there is a square, there's a bit of tension, there's a bit of friction, there's a bit of compromising that is required. Maybe you're moving with your partner, but you're leaving your sick grandmother behind. And so you need to make sure that you're not just abandoning her, that everything is kind of in place, right? There is a trine to Mars in the 8th, which feels like even though things may feel unpredictable or hard to kind of figure out, the trine to Mars in the 8th suggests that you're supported, that you have the resources necessary, that you have people who can come to your side. The new moon in the 4th might also be a sign of starting new relationships with family, maybe setting better boundaries, or actually maybe welcoming new family members. If you are pregnant, for example, maybe there's a baby, or maybe you're moving, maybe your sister is coming to live with you, or your cousin is coming to live with you, or something like that. So opportunities to create more comfort, more ease, both at home and in relationships with family, are quite highlighted here. Please share how this resonates, and if you're looking for more guidance, book a reading at anastasia.astrology.com. I'd be happy to talk about your natal chart, your relationship compatibility, or your year ahead. If you are the lovely Capricorn rising, there's a new moon in your 3rd house and a square to Jupiter in the 6th, trining Mars in the 7th. Beautiful energy for partnerships. With the trine to Mars in the 7th, Mars has been retrograde for a while between your 8th house of shared values and 7th house of partnerships. Now it's finally direct. You're feeling more aligned with your partner, maybe your business partner. You're feeling more kind of comfortable with your connections. And the new moon in the 3rd is urging you to express your voice. It's urging you to connect with your dreams. And you have people. You have support, you have alliances that can help you push those dreams forward, right? The new moon in the 3rd might be a business opportunity. It might be a teaching opportunity, a writing opportunity, right? Like starting a writing partnership with someone. I can see here taking your dreams and putting them on a page, starting to write your stories, quite likely here. Changing your work life, changing your schedule, changing relationships with siblings, as well as maybe some changes in the lives of the sibling that affect you somehow. Let's say your sister has a baby and you become an aunt, and so that's quite exciting for you potentially. But the new moon in the 3rd definitely symbolizes changes around everyday life, around your relationships, your communication, and your self-expression. So connecting to dreams and desires. There is a square to Jupiter in the 6th, so there might be a bit of friction between your dreams and desires and your busy schedule or things that are already going on in your life. There might be a bit of a sense of overwhelm as you're trying to do too many things at once. It might also be like literally a bit of frustration as maybe you're having to clean or do a lot of like grunt work that you don't want to do in order to make your dreams come true. Trying to make sure you're not overloading yourself, and do reflect back on 2006, 2007 when the North Node was lost in Pisces and South Node was lost in Virgo. So because even though this is not an eclipse, it's a new moon, but it's happening in the sign of the North Node. So we've had an eclipse here in September 2024. We're going to have another one in September 2025. So there are major transformations happening in your third house, major changes in terms of your speech, your goals, your everyday life, your writing, your even your thinking, right? Like third house is very much about the mind. And so having a new moon here is very kind of constructive for new pursuits and a restructuring of your thoughts on many levels, kind of shifting from maybe a bit more conservative, sarcastic perspective, or seeing the downsides before opportunities type of perspective, and going more towards like being open-minded, being curious, being excited. For more guidance, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com to get your natal chart relationship predictive reading. And I highly recommend my Jupiter in Taurus candle for you guys because it highlights your fifth house of romance, pleasure, creativity, and it can help with inspiration. It can help also with financial stability because it's Jupiter in a very kind of grounded, lucrative sign of Taurus. All of that is at anastasiadoesastrology.com. Last but not least, Aquarius rising, you are last today. There's a new moon in your second house of money and values, and a square to Jupiter in the fifth, trining Mars in the sixth. Something new is happening financially that might create a bit of friction in your relationship, but ultimately be really good for your job. Now you tell me what it means. But no, the new moon in the second house is all about financial gains. It can also be about you connecting to your true values, because Pisces is your second house, and you may prioritize kind of creative work, imaginative work, maybe work that puts you in touch with other people. And so having the new moon here could be a chance to work on a project that feels close to your heart. Maybe you are doing work that is, once again, helping, serving other people. Maybe you're working on your dreams. Maybe you're doing some kind of like social initiative, right? There is a trine to Mars in the sixth, Mars that is finally direct. So for a while, maybe you felt a bit unsure about your professional life. Maybe you've dealt with some tensions with colleagues, with bosses, but now things finally start to flow. And the trine to Mars in the sixth also suggests that you're not afraid to invest energy, and maybe you're working really hard. Because we are in the cycle of the North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo, which is similar to 2006, 2007. If you remember what was happening in your life back then, do let me know. But it is that cycle that is calling you to become self-reliant, financially independent. And so a lot of focus is going towards your finances, your stability, your investments. There is that square to Jupiter in the fifth, and maybe your financial goals contradict what your partner's goals are. Or maybe your desires, your values are somehow threatening to your relationship. Or even maybe they affect your child somehow, and maybe you need to kind of adjust your financial professional goals with what your relationship or your child or your even your creative hobbies what they need. So there's a little bit of like needing to compromise, I think, and be kind of mindful here. I'd love to hear how this resonates. Do you remember what was happening in your finances and in your sort of self-reliant, independent life back in 2006, 2007? I'm also curious if you remember September 2024, September 17th, when we had the lunar eclipse in Pisces. It could have been the time when something was ending in terms of your finances, resources, values, priorities, to open space for new beginnings. So I feel like this could be quite inspiring. This could be quite exciting for like starting a new job, starting a new investment, starting a new project, and connecting with your heart. Let me know how this resonates. For more guidance, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. You can book a natal, relationship, predictive reading on there. I can help you figure out the best date for your wedding or the best place in the world for you to move to. And thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Check out my links, check out my information, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.